Now we've talked about minding about the mental health of the caretakers, and I find it wise out of us to discuss about what is the guidance of Islam when it comes to protecting other people's mental health.
From a general point of view.
Yeah, from a general point of view, as we are relating with other people, because Islam doesn't train selfish people. I think if you're talking about mental health, as you're relating with others, you can do a lot that destabilizes mental health of people you're relating with, and so on and so forth. Do you even have anything in Islam that takes us through that?
Of course, to begin with, we've talked about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but I think we need to re-emphasize this, especially when it comes to the likes of Anas bin Malik radiallahu anhu, who was his mawla, who was his servant in the house,
helper
in the house, and he narrates on certain occasions that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would come to him and is like, "Why are you sad?" Asking about why he is sad, and also that point of wanting to find out what is going on wrong with someone's life. Maybe if they are sad, try to ask them. Try to ask them, because we live a sad life most of the time,
most especially when they're under your roof, or maybe they're under your concern.
But actually we don't show everyone that we are sad. But if someone is sad in front of your face, it literally means he is interested. That could be a way of opening up. Because I'm showing you that I'm sad, so that maybe you're concerned and ask me why I'm sad. So the Prophet used to recognize those signals, and he would ask Anas bin Malik, "Why are you sad?" Also, the same companion, same helper in the house, he says, "I worked for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam for 9 years, but he has never backed at me, he has never shouted at me, he has not told me, why did you do that, or why didn't you do this?" So as a person who is the employer, someone who is having someone under your care, I think it is important for you to note that even the way you talk with them, even the way you relate with them, is important for their mental health. That the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not going to let someone to be in his presence and he's not okay. So Anas bin Malik was like, I wondered, don't you hear cases of the way the Prophet used to treat his helpers, like Zayd bin Haritha, who was given as a gift. He was also a servant, a helper in the home, but he was a servant, a slave. But even when his dad came to ask for him,
he prioritized
the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because the way he used to protect him was exceptional, that I would choose the Prophet 100 times over my dad.
I think a great lesson there is when Anas bin Malik is like, Prophet never backed at me. Even with the reality that he was positioned in a situation where it's very difficult to stay away from such
of course,
such situation.
If you are employed, if you're working for someone, you can't stay away from not doing something right.
And definitely this actually can also be addressed. It doesn't basically mean that all was good, but out of Prophet's concern to just mind the mental health of whoever is under his roof, he tasked himself to find better ways of saying something, his concern to the helper, and so on.
And of course the gauge of the Prophet to know that maybe something wrong has been done, but it is not destructive. It is not, maybe someone has mopped, but they have not mopped so well at one point. You don't need to back at them with that.
Exactly.
Because what they have done, have they cleaned majority of the place well? It's only this one spot that has not come, but you don't give it much energy of backing, blaming them. You make it a blame game.
And actually, in most cases, when someone is being positioned in that way in your life, the Islamic doctrine guidance doesn't approach it in a way of helping them out of pity, but it approaches it in a way of helping them out of concern and out of doing good to them, back to them. Because today people have helpers, maybe at work, maybe at home, but seems like society dictates how bad you're going to treat them. Someone gets a helper, preparing how immoral they're going to treat them, how unjust they're going to treat them, and so on and so forth. But if at all the Prophet takes that step, and this opens a door where the Prophet stops us from demeaning others, ridiculing them. لا يسخر قوم من قوم. When Allah is like, don't even take a step of demeaning any group amongst you, because be sensitive when you're speaking to them. Like you need to mind whoever is going to receive whatever you're saying. So all this is in respect to protect their mental health, because when it comes to speaking, some people are just good at speaking,
and with words you don't know how much of someone's mental health you're affecting.
Exactly. Maybe it only needs a statement to your own child, birth given kid, to destroy their mental health for years. Maybe your
things like, how good can you ever be? How do you do? Are you stupid? How do you do something like that?
Exactly. Who does that of your age? Like how dare you do
Look
this?
at your friends.
Look at your friends, your age mates, and so on and so forth. Like, not being sensitive as you're speaking, it might end up not protecting the mental health of whoever. And actually, this is why the Islamic guidance is, you analyze whatever you're going to speak out before. If at all it is not khair, it is not good, then liyasmut, just keep silent, because if you speak it out, then there's a lot at stake. You're going to bring a lot of disaster into someone's health. Do you really think Allah is going to pin someone for that?
Look at now this instance where Abdullah ibn Maktoum comes to the Prophet ﷺ, and he is not coming with an emergency.
He was blind.
And that has to be noted. He's not coming with an emergency. He's just coming, Ya Muhammad, because they were related. Because Abdullah ibn Maktoum was a cousin to Khadija. So he's like, Alimni mimma allamak Allah. Teach me anything, in other words, just anything. I didn't come with an emergency situation. So the Prophet is busy dealing with the high-ranking men from among the non-believers, the disbelievers, and he's like trying to address a matter to them. And all of a sudden he comes to them, like Allah narrates in the Quran, Abasa wa tawalla. He frowned and turned away from this blind man. And now look at how Allah is protecting our concept of understanding this. If a blind man is coming, frowning is a physical feature. So the blind man is not going to see whether I'm frowning or not. If I turn away, the blind man is not going to see whether I'm turning away or not. But Allah is training us by extension to know that if the standards of my Prophet are that you are not even supposed to frown and turn away from a blind person, then it means if someone is looking at what you're doing, the ridiculing, the demeaning might not be of words, but even the facial expression. If the Prophet ﷺ is talked about the facial expression he put out in Abasa wa Tawalla, it means it is important of even our facial expressions in receiving news from people who see what we are doing.
Exactly. And something sweet out of the story, even Allah, in line with putting the right Prophet Muhammad to the better option, he protected his mental health there. Instead of saying Abasta wa Tawallaita, it would be too direct that the Prophet Abasa wa Tawalla, like he kept him in the third position, like someone, it looked like someone frowned and someone just put the back to the live
that opens up a very big discussion among scholars of tafsir that even this was not about the Prophet.
Exactly. So the sweetness of this religion is that, because that alone shows the level. And talk about the Prophet's guidance when people are having a discussion where, when the third party comes in,
make sure you include them
in the conversation, if you're still proceeding with the same conversation. If not, then at least you don't continue without addressing them, just to make sure they are protected mentally.
So looking at what language am I using?
Exactly.
Do they understand what you're speaking about? Are they in line?
What terms are you using?
Yes. Are they don't just neglect them and look at them as an outcast or something. Include them create inclusivity even in the conversations.
Exactly.
Because someone might be disowned, feel isolated. And these are issues that we look at that build up a mental health situation.
Exactly.
With
exactly. I think these are some of the guidelines we are supposed to cope up with when it comes to mining about mental health.
Isn't it also important to know about the kind of questions we ask people?
Oh yeah.
Why aren't you married? How come you don't have a good job at your age? Look at your age mates, how much they have achieved in life. How come you have no children? I think these are questions that spark a lot of
true.
Someone doesn't feel in place. These are questions that you need to know. If especially if you are not the right person, don't ask such questions. Because you are triggering someone's
in respect with protecting their mental
health. Yes. Make sure that you are not feeling them feel uncomfortable, that you are asking the right questions and you are the right person. Sometimes, why would you ask, especially a lot of girl children, especially in our societies, are traumatized with, why aren't you getting married? As if everything is in their hands. As if it is them who are supposed to marry themselves off. A lot of things are happening. Some people are not married because of family problems. Some people are not married because they're not finding the right person. And this is causing them mental disorders and mental illnesses. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, you rise up and you're like, why aren't you married? So make sure when you're asking some questions, you are the right person. And you're asking the right questions.
So putting the guidance out there, people getting to understand, to being sensitive as they're trying to inquire, being inquisitive about what is happening within someone's life.
Does that bring in tarkuhu ma la ya'nihi?
Anyway, when the Prophet was like, min husni islam al-mar'i, if you want to be a perfect good Muslim and understanding, and in this case, if you want to be a Muslim that is protecting other people's mental health, tarkuhu ma la ya'nihi, if you're not involved directly into their business, then you don't by force find a way there by actively attacking questions. Maybe the reason as to why we call them attacking questions, it's because of the sensitivity in them. If someone is not married by 40, it's not their problem.
It's not always there.
It's not always their problem. So even when they are the problem, it's not your position to ask them directly. If someone doesn't have a child by 40,
that is obviously not their problem.
It's obviously not their problem. And if you ask, it's like you're putting it onto them, and it might spark something mentally. If someone, whatever situation, that social pressure comes with a lot to
Talking about social pressure, we need to discuss social order too. That the relationships we are having, you make sure you protect them from the things that kill these relationships.
Vices.
The vices. Because a relationship, you might cause someone, maybe because of the dishonesty, because of the lies,
the hypocrisy,
the disloyalty. Someone doesn't believe in love anymore. Because of something that you disturbed them. Now it is a disorder going on with their minds.
They have to battle with it.
So some friend of mine was doing khitbah, or Islamic dating, something like that, and this girl lied to him. This girl, actually the girl was in one country and she lied that she was in another country, things like that, and boy found out from a third party about this, and he's like, oh wow, she can't lie to me this way, because now I can't know when did the lies begin. Because I doubt everything that has been happening now. Then it means I can't continue with this person. Now I'm going to be hyper vigilant with everyone that comes in my life next.
Trust issues
because of something someone did. So Islam calls us to be honest. Islam calls us to feel for other people. Islam calls us to
be empathetic.
Be empathetic. Don't just focus on yourself. Is that so long as I am okay, other people don't matter. That is not our doctrine.
And actually, it's very evident that some people end up doing acts of betrayal with others, and the aftermath of that to whoever is receiving the betrayal is actually too intense. Someone ends up not trusting anyone,
Some levels are extreme that they even reach suicide.
Exactly, suicide. So it really has to be addressed in that the awareness is really key. For the last thing you need is for Allah to pin you for killing someone when you never killed them, but you actually sponsored their killing. And I believe when Allah is termed to be the just, the most fair, I think I can't run away with such if at all I never kept myself in position.
And I think with that, the physical killing is bad, but killing the spirit is worse.
So
it means if we are really afraid of causing someone physical death, we are supposed to even pay much attention to causing someone lose their own spirit, because like you said, one of the punishments Allah takes upon himself to do is to make someone lose their own selves. So sometimes Allah sends these mental illnesses as a punishment, as a result of us forgetting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So imagine someone losing their self, and Allah doesn't choose a slight punishment. That punishment becomes heavy. Now imagine if you are the one causing someone a mental illness.
Imagine someone losing their lives just because of the statement you said out. Imagine someone ending up being the worst of themselves just because of a statement you said, that they are going to take ages to heal from it. And I think this will position each one of us to make sure we mind people in our circles about their health mentally. You know what to say, when to say it, and to whom you're saying it, and in what articulation you're putting it out to them.